Award is for sure a disappointing one, as we were talking about with McLaren earlier. It was kind of a season of could be, should be's for him, but I think there's a lot of takeaways that he can learn for 2024. How hard he can really send it and lean on competitors when going for overtakes, and kind of. I'm only saying this because it seems like anything that could go wrong for Pato Award managed to go wrong for keeping him from getting a win this year. But I think that is things that he's going to learn to overcome. And I think, again, a lot of things he can take away. Talking about Newgarden, I think it would have been awesome to see him come back and, bring the championship fight to Palou. But already at Gateway, we were thinking that was going to be almost impossible. That being said, I think taking 4 out of 5 for the ovals is absolutely something that's worth celebrating. And just, I don't think, I struggle to think of a oval performance in a season as dominant as that, Ben.
Yeah, and looking at starting Pato Award season, I think he had a really good season, all things considered. Obviously, he certainly wants to get that win for his Arrow McLaren bunch, especially with the performance we've seen from them in the last couple of years. But I think it's really going to be a character building year for him. He's gonna learn about all of the things he's gone through this year. All the coulda, shoulda, woulda situations, and in 2024, like I was just saying, continue to build their program, get much better, and we'll see what happens next with that number 5 team going into 2024. And Josef Newgarden, I think the one thing that he's going to be really pleased with this year is that now he'll be known as not just an IndyCar champion, but an Indy 500 champion. I know as the years have gone on, people have been saying that at the end of Josef Newgarden's career, whenever that is, he wants to be known as an Indy 500 champion. If it's great winning, obviously winning the IndyCar championship and all, but for an IndyCar driver, it feels like your career is not complete unless you have your face on the Borg Warner trophy. So I think Josef Newgarden definitely got that crossed off his list. He doesn't necessarily have a whole lot left to prove in IndyCar, despite still being a young driver with many years left ahead of him. So I think it was a really good year for Newgarden, especially with his great performances on the old tracks. But knowing Josef Newgarden, how he is, I know he's going to be frustrated, losing a couple of spots there in the championship points at the end.
Well, I know we talked about this a little bit last week, I think, but I think it just speaks to how great Josef Newgarden has been that we can talk about a guy who won 4 races this year, including the Indianapolis 500, and say, is this a disappointing year for Josef Newgarden, with where he ended up in the point standings here? But, I think in some ways, perhaps it is. You didn't have a great final few races here, and maybe that hurts your momentum going into the off season, and we'll see if that carries through next year. I know he's obviously got a great team underneath him with Team Penske here, and probably doesn't help that Scott McLaughlin was one of the ones that passed him to take third in the final standings here, and it does look like Ganassi, obviously, with Palou and Dixon being 1-2 and so far ahead of the rest of the pack, they've got some work to do to catch up to them. But you can't hang your head too low here if you're Josef Newgarden. You just won the Indianapolis 500 a few months ago and almost swept the ovals, for crying out loud. So still a successful season in its own right. And I would say so for Pato Award as well, to be that high in the standings. Obviously, I think he's got to be disappointed that he didn't win a race. But, they both had solid years. I think if they play their cards right, they can take that and build on for 2024.